This show is sponsored by BetterHelp.
They've helped people find the one in therapy at least for over 10 years. And with a 4.9 rating from 1.7 million sessions, you know you're in good hands.
All of the therapists from BetterHelp are fully licensed in the US and follow a really strict code of conduct, so you know that you're getting legit help. And BetterHelp actually does the hard work of matching you with a therapist based on your needs. You just fill out a quick quiz and their 10 plus years of experience kick in to help pick the right person the first time. And if you're not vibing with your match, you can switch therapists whenever, no worries. And it's totally online, super flexible. You can pause your subscription if you need a break or swap therapists anytime, and there's no extra charge for that.
BetterHelp is huge, over 30,000 therapists and 5 million people helped around the world. So you've definitely got options. Peyton and I talk about this a lot. We are both big believers in therapy. If you need someone to talk to, or you just want to try it out, honestly, give BetterHelp a try. It never hurts talking to someone. And again, we're both big advocates of therapy in general.
As the largest online therapy provider in the world, BetterHelp can provide access to mental health professionals with a diverse variety of expertise. So find the one with BetterHelp. Our listeners actually get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/husband. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/husband. You're listening to an Ono Media podcast. Hey everyone, welcome back to Murder with My Husband. I'm Peyton Moreland.
And I'm Garrett Moreland.
That's not the beginning.
No, wait, you did that wrong.
Yeah. Okay, let me restart everyone.
Go again.
Let me retry that, you guys.
I didn't even correct you.
How are we going to start a podcast and not even give them their intro?
Okay, I'm ready.
Whoa, everyone, cleanse. Let's retry. Hey everyone, welcome back to the podcast. This is Murder with My Husband. I'm Peyton Moreland.
And I'm Garrett Moreland.
And he's the husband.
And I'm the husband. Welcome back to another episode, another week. Hope everyone is having a great holiday. Majority of you are probably off work, depending on what your jobs are.
Is it Labor Day?
It is Labor Day. Anyways, hope you guys are enjoying today, no matter what you're doing. Hope someone out there did something fun over the weekend. We have just been hanging out, chilling at home. Nothing too crazy. And here we are recording an episode, getting ready to hang out with you guys for the week.
We did just wake up. We have our Dutch Bros coffee.
We got our Dutch Bros, even though they don't want to sponsor us. We got our Dutch Bros coffee. We are energized. We're ready to go. I made some bagels last night. I know I had a bunch of people asking about my bagels. Yeah, they're really good.
They were like good.
They were pretty authentic when it comes to bagels.
I hope so. It was like a full 2-day process. He boiled, baked, all the things. Let them sit in the fridge for hours.
Yeah, I did a good job. They turned out really good. That's all I have to say about that. Nothing more. I've just been, Peyton and I guess for my 10 seconds, I'll give you a little life update. This week, we've just been kind of rearranging furniture. We got some new furniture. I dropped a dresser on my foot. I made some bagels, exercising, hanging out. Halloween is coming up. I mean, not really, but kind of. We're getting there. It's almost September. Actually, while you're listening to this, it'll be September. So it's basically time to get ready for Halloween. So hope everyone, you know what? I came up with something right as I was talking.
What?
I think that we should do a Halloween contest this year.
Wait, it's September. That means I'm supposed to put Skelly in with us.
Yeah, so I think we should do a Halloween costume contest this year. And the winner gets, what does the winner get?
Like they post on their stories and tag us?
Like they send us or post on their stories and tag us.
You know what, you guys? Go to Instagram to check the official rules because we're making this up off the top of our head.
But the winner will get something really good. We'll keep everyone updated.
That'll be fun.
Yeah. I'll think of like a really good prize. I don't know. Maybe one of my bagels. No, I'm just kidding. It'll be better than that. I'll think of something really good. On that note, I'll see if Peyton has anything to say and then we can hop into today's case.
Well, I don't have anything to say because I'm about to yap your ear off.
Let's do it.
Our sources for this episode are live5news.com, abcnews.go.com, people.com, cbsnews.com, myhorrynews.com, justice.gov, 13wham.com, wbtw.com, newyorkpost.com, wrdw.com, and abc.com. All right, before I get into it, I did want to say you might recognize this case because it is a little bit more well-known in the true crime community, but we haven't done this for a little while. I always find it interesting to introduce more well-known cases to Garrett because this will be the first time he's ever heard of it, and it's almost like kind of fascinating to listen to someone digest information that we all already might be aware of. So if you have heard of this case, just stick around and listen. I promise it'll be worth it.
And for those who might be new listening, I don't know these cases. Everyone's always like, how do you not know these cases? Do you not listen to true crime? No. The only time I listen to true crime is when I am sitting down in this chair, hearing it from my wife.
Okay, so for a lot of people, part of being a teenager is pushing boundaries, finding your independence, learning how to be an adult, and believing that you know a heck of a lot better than your parents do. And most of us have been told no by our parents before that we can't go to a party or we can't stay out past our curfew. And then we all tried to do it anyways. But when we're teenagers, we aren't thinking about why our parents are setting those boundaries for us. We just think they want to keep us on a leash and say no just because they can. We never consider that they're actually trying to protect us from all of the scary things out there in the real world. Things that our innocent little naive selves still aren't thinking of yet. Drunk drivers, handsy boys, strangers in the night. And while most of the time those fears are just our parents being overprotective, today's case proves that sometimes those fears are greatly justified. So let's travel now to upstate New York, to a suburb of Rochester called Chile. The year is 2009, and this is a place that a 17-year-old girl named Britanee Drexel calls home. So again, 2009, in a suburb of Rochester, 17-year-old Britanee. Now, Britanee was born on October 7th, 1991. Her parents, Dawn and John, were teenagers themselves when they had Britanee, and they weren't married at the time. Knock it up.
Dawn and John. Sorry.
Well, it's not like they chose their names and then we're like, let's be a couple and be Dawn and John.
Mm-hmm.
They just met each other, fell in love.
Yeah.
They weren't married at the time. Again, they were teenagers, so the relationship didn't last long. Now, around the time Britanee turned 2, Dawn got together with a man named Chad Drexel, who ended up adopting Britanee and took on the role of a father figure in her life. And it was good that Dawn had the support because things weren't easy with Britanee when she was a baby. She was born with something called persistent hyperplastic primary vitreous in her right eye, which basically required a bunch of surgeries throughout her life and inevitably rendered her blind in that eye.
Whoa.
But that didn't discourage Chad and Dawn from growing their family. So years later, Britanee had a half little brother and sister named Marissa and Camden. And she grows extremely close with these siblings. And while Brittanee's eye troubles certainly must have been a challenge, they didn't seem to hinder her confidence as she grew up and into her teenage years. People who knew Britanee described her as a little spitfire, a ball of energy who was extremely feisty, especially on the soccer field. There, Britanee was a massive star, scoring 26 goals for her team in one season alone. She was also studying cosmetology and had hopes of either pursuing that or modeling once she got done with high school. But come 2009, 17-year-old Britanee started doing what a lot of kids her age do. She began testing boundaries. Things at home were getting complicated because Dawn and Chad were actually in the midst of a separation. Her biological dad, John, had just come back into her life and was looking to rekindle a relationship with his daughter. And meanwhile, Britanee was trying to make the most of her high school years. It was her junior year, and she had just started hanging out with a new group of friends who were all a little bit older than she was, which meant Britanee was invited to more parties and less parent-supervised outings. She also, at this point, had a boyfriend, a kid named John Greco, who she had been together with for about a year or so, and she seemed pretty serious about him. But in the spring of 2009, Britanee went to her mom with a request. She wanted to go with a few of her new friends down to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, for a spring break trip. Now, Dawn, her mother, told her right away, I do not approve, especially because she hardly knew the new friends Britanee was going with and was told there wouldn't be any parents going with them. So this actually led to a bunch of arguments between Dawn and Britanee over the next week or two. But Dawn was not about to cave, especially because she just had that mom feeling. If she let Britanee go, something terrible would happen. And it didn't seem like she shared this intuition with Britanee at the time, but Dawn did stand her ground. And then when Britanee came to her around April 22nd, she said, okay, plans have changed. Now me and my friends just want to go to another friend's beach house in Rochester Island. Now, this time Dawn agreed, figuring it was a good compromise since Britanee wouldn't even be crossing state lines. But she had no idea that Britanee wasn't being truthful. Later that day, Britanee got in a car with 3 of her new friends and headed south to Myrtle Beach anyways.
Okay.
So her sneaky little plan was tell mom the plans changed, but they actually didn't. So her and her friends check into a place along the water called the Bar Harbor Hotel. They spent the next 3 days enjoying themselves without a hitch. And on day 3, April 25th, Britanee started to feel a little guilty about the fights that she had had with her mother about this trip. So she called her that day to say she was at the beach. She didn't specify what beach. Dawn obviously thinks she meant that she was at the Lake Ontario shoreline, which was close to the house and something they always referred to as the beach. Plus, the weather was warm back in New York that day. It was 83 degrees, so Dawn didn't really ask too many questions. She was just happy that the air was getting cleared between her and Britanee and that her daughter sounded in high spirits that day and was having fun. Before she hung up the phone, Britanee told her mother she loved her and that she would see her the following day. Unfortunately, though, that would be the last conversation the two of them would ever have. That night, around 8 p.m., Britanee left her hotel alone to go visit some other friends in town who were staying at another nearby hotel. It was called the Blue Water Resort. It was about 1.5 miles away from the place she was staying with her friends. Now, security cameras show her walking into this new hotel and then leaving shortly after at around 8:45 p.m. Apparently, one of the friends Britanee went down with had texted her asking if she borrowed her pair of black shorts. When Britanee was like, yeah, I did. It kind of became an argument between the two friends. So Britanee agreed to leave this visit at the new hotel that she was at and head back to her original hotel with her original friends to give the girl her pair of shorts.
Okay.
Sorry, that was a little complicated because there's a lot of friends. But by the way, Brittanee's boyfriend, John, was not on the trip with them, but the two were texting pretty much the entire time she was on spring break with her friends. And she told John what was happening as she left the hotel that night to go return the shorts to the OG hotel. She told John she was walking back, but around 9:15 p.m. that night, Brittanee's texts stopped out of the blue. John, her boyfriend, wasn't hearing from her anymore, and he honestly began to panic. He starts calling her friends that she was with. They said they hadn't heard from her either, and Britanee, who was walking that 1.5 miles back to the hotel in the dark, hadn't made it back yet. So that's when John ups the stakes. He tells Britanee, hey, if you don't text me back soon, I'm going to call your mom and tell her that you lied and are in Myrtle Beach.
Okay.
And when more time passes that night without hearing from Britanee and her not showing up back to the hotel, John follows through on that promise. He calls Dawn later that night and says, hey, I'm really worried about Britanee. She just stopped texting me out of the blue and her friends haven't seen or heard from her. And also, she is not in New York. She did actually go to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina.
I mean, probably a good thing that he told her, obviously.
And so that's when Dawn realizes she's got to get to Myrtle Beach immediately.
Oh, wow. All right. You guys have probably heard of 8 Sleep by now. They are the company with the sole mission of improving your sleep, and they've just launched their latest product, Pod 5. Peyton and I have been using 8 Sleep for years now. We're big advocates for it if it's something that you are able to buy. Honestly, I think it's an investment for your health. It lasts a long time, helps you sleep better. I love it.
If you don't know what 8 Sleep is or Pod 5, it is the newest generation of their signature product, the Pod, which is a smart mattress cover that you place right on top of your existing mattress. And don't worry, you can't feel it. This is next level sleep technology, okay? It automatically regulates your body temperature throughout the night independently for each side of the bed. So I have my side of the bed warming up, so it feels like my sheets just got out of the dryer when I get into bed. Garrett's is cooling down. And then in the middle of the night, I actually set mine to cool down because I sleep a little hot. And honestly, it's gotten to the point where Garrett and I can't sleep without 8 Sleep because it has made our temperature at night so much better.
It can cool down to a chilly 55 degrees Fahrenheit or warm up to 110 degrees Fahrenheit. And it does this separately for each side of the bed, like Peyton was just saying. This means you and your partner can each have your ideal sleep temperature. It's also not just about temperature. It can detect if you are snoring through chest vibrations, and it'll automatically adjust the position of the bed to reduce or completely stop the snoring. Pod 5 also introduces an integrated speaker that allows you to play white noise and guided meditations from Dr. Andrew Huberman.
Yeah, honestly, it's also so cool about sleep tracking via the app. I can get on, see how I slept. It has a whole bunch of information on it. So if you're going through menopause or just struggling with night sweats, you have to try this. Head over to 8sleep.com/husband and make sure to use code husband to get $350 off. You are going to want to use our code with this one. Again, $350 off your very own Pod 5 Ultra. And the best part is that you still get 30 days to try it at home and return it if you don't like it. I'm pretty confident you're going to love it. Trust me, your body will thank you for this investment in better sleep. Shipping to many countries worldwide. See details at 8sleep.com/husband. So by the following morning, Dawn and the rest of the family are basically on their way to South Carolina. And of course, one of their first stops when they get there is immediately to the local police because Britanee never showed up the entire night. But they also start walking up and down the strip that Britanee was walking between these hotels to see if anyone had spotted her. And meanwhile, the Myrtle Beach police begin searching Brittanee's hotel room. They find that all of her clothes are still there, but her purse and her cell phone are missing. They also gain access to a security camera on Ocean Boulevard, which is where Brittanee's hotel was. And it's honestly sort of the main drag along the water with all the different hotels. And they find footage of Britanee walking toward the Blue Water Resort southbound around 8 p.m., which matches the story. She has her head down. She's looking at her cell phone. She's likely texting John. They also have footage of her going in. This is the other friend's hotel. And then back out of the Blue Water Resort where the friends were staying. Basically, she entered around 8 p.m. and left around 8:45 p.m.
Okay, so everything seems fine.
Yes,
so
it
far.
seems to match what everyone was saying. But what they don't have is Britanee walking past that original camera on Ocean Boulevard, again, later on, heading back towards her hotel.
Okay, so
they at least have a kind of a point on a map of where they know she didn't get to.
Okay.
So what happened to Britanee after she left the Blue Water Resort? Police begin with tracking Brittanee's cell phone, and they find that she left the Myrtle Beach area pretty soon after leaving the Blue Water Resort.
Interesting.
Yes. So her phone traveled 15 miles south.
Oh, so she went the other way.
Of her hotel.
Okay.
And obviously in a car, because you're not going to be walking
Yeah.
15 miles. It was pretty fast. They also learned that the last ping of her cell phone was in the early morning hours of April 26th off a cell tower about 50 miles south.
My gosh. Okay. So, someone took her in a
So
car.
it was near a rural, swampy area
Oh, my.
on the Georgetown-Charleston County line. And you can imagine her friends, her boyfriend, her
Horrible.
family learning this from police after reporting her missing. Like, okay, yeah, we believe you. She is missing. And also she was taken in a car. Did she get in there willingly? And all of her friends and family were like, no, this is nowhere Britanee would have gone on her own accord without telling John or us or someone, which then obviously leads everyone in the case's hearts to drop because that means she was most likely kidnapped. So the local police there mobilized pretty quickly, sending search teams out to the area to scour the land on ATVs, horseback, by foot.
Oh, my gosh.
And this is heartbreaking. But
They
after
found the body that quick?
After 11 days
Oh.
of non-stop searches from sunrise to sunset, they come up empty-handed.
Oh, my gosh. So they found the last ping, but nothing.
11 days have gone by without a word from Britanee. So there's no sign of Britanee. Honestly, things aren't looking good, but her family isn't giving up hope. After posting flyers, the police end up getting hundreds of tips from local people claiming to have seen Britanee either wandering Ocean Boulevard, which we knew, or sitting on a bus somewhere close by after she disappeared. But none of this can be confirmed. Nothing really leads to anything useful. There is, however, one person police zoom in on pretty early in the investigation. It was actually the last person Britanee was said to be with. It was one of these friends at the Blue Water Resort, a 20-year-old guy named Peter Brazowitz.
I mean, something's got to be on the cameras. Like 100% they find something that her getting into a car or being forced into a car has to be.
So they're looking into Peter, who was a friend at the other hotel. And he was a nightclub promoter back in Rochester who also happened to be vacationing down in Myrtle Beach that same week. He and Britanee and some of his friends had apparently met up the night before she vanished. So she had already hung out with these friends on April 24th at a place called Club Kryptonite. Now, Britanee, Peter, and his friends then met back up the following morning at the beach near the Blue Water Resort around 11 a.m., and then again in their room when Britanee stopped by the night she went missing at around 8 p.m. Now, there's really nothing suspicious about the encounter with Peter from what I can tell, aside from the fact that he lawyers up pretty quickly as soon as Britanee disappears, which just honestly seems like a smart move if you're going to be being questioned by the police. But there is something he says that makes Brittanee's mom question his story. He says that she spent 10 minutes in his room the night before her friend texted her saying she wanted her to walk back and give her back the shorts. And that's when Britanee left and planned to make the 1.5 mile walk back to her hotel. But Brittanee's mom says she hated walking. It doesn't make any sense that she would have turned right back around and walked another mile back to the hotel.
Okay.
And so when asked why Peter, who had a car, didn't offer to just give her a quick ride back to the hotel, he said, quote, he wasn't in Myrtle Beach to babysit. Now, remember, Britanee is a little bit younger, but this response gets police wondering. Did Britanee not want to make the walk back to her hotel, and so instead she got a ride from a cab or potentially a stranger that night? Like as she was on the walk back, she decided to try, and maybe that innocent ride went seriously wrong. Well, after several dead ends, the investigation into Britanee Drexel starts to slow. But Brittanee's mom, Dawn, is refusing to give up hope. She actually moves to Myrtle Beach.
Oh my gosh. Good
with
for
her parents full time so she can keep applying pressure to the local law enforcement. Plus, she says it just makes her feel closer to her missing daughter. And meanwhile, Dawn starts to have her own theories on what might have happened to her daughter, Britanee. She wonders if maybe Britanee was lured to Myrtle Beach by someone who was promising her something, maybe like a prospective modeling job, which Britanee had expressed interest in doing. She also wondered if perhaps Britanee had then fallen victim to sex trafficking. This is a theory that might have come from the fact that Horry County, where Myrtle Beach is located, has been rated the #1 county in South Carolina for human trafficking.
Wow. Okay.
However, I'm not sure if the local police took any of that like seriously enough.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, I think at some point you get so many theories, you gotta nail something down, right?
Yeah.
I think it's hard.
I do know that for another 2 years,
Oh, so sad.
the investigation creeps by with a lot of false leads, bad tips, and little movement.
Okay.
That was until August of 2011 when someone comes forward in the case with something of use. So that year, a woman goes to the police and says she wants to report something. Her boyfriend, a 54-year-old man named Raymond Moody, had been abusing her. She also mentions that Raymond's on a sex offenders list and also might be worth looking into for the Britanee Drexel case. So this woman basically walks in and says, my boyfriend sucks, and also you might want to look into him as a suspect. Well, it just so happens that Raymond also lives pretty close to the area where Britanee's cell phone last pinged, only about 10 miles away, over in Georgetown County. In fact, Raymond used to be in the Navy, and when he was stationed back in California, he was convicted of 7 different sexual assaults, some of which included crimes against kids and teenagers, which he did serve about 20 years for. After his release in California, Raymond moved back to his hometown in Georgetown, South Carolina.
If this ends up being the guy, I don't really know what to say other than
20 assaults.
Yeah, we just
keep him there for life.
You're staying in for life, or
he's not going to get better,
or you're getting the X. Like, I don't know, because if this ends up being the guy, look what happened.
Yeah,
look exactly what happened when he got out of prison. And I'm not saying that everyone who gets out of prison, but for anyone who's unaware, the amount of people who reoffend when they get out of prison, the percentage is absolutely astonishing.
For sex crimes.
You guys would be mind blown.
Don't quote me, but the last time I
Isn't
looked into
80% plus?
Well, no, the last time I looked into it, the highest reoffenders were sex crimes.
And I had to look at the percentage, but I remember it being an astonishing number where I was like, yep, and this is why you should never get out of prison.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 20?
1.
Like, bye.
Insane.
You're obviously highly up on the reoffender list. Okay. Anyways, that's just like really frustrating when we cover these cases and someone has offended that many times. Yeah. Whether Raymond did it or not, like why is he? I mean, okay. Anyways, so after his 20-year sentence, he gets out, he moves back home to South Carolina and had been living there ever since. His parole had ended back in 2007. This was 2 years before Brittanee's disappearance. Yeah. So he was in the area and no longer on parole. But now Raymond is back on the police's radar, especially because one of the crimes he committed actually sounds eerily similar to what happened to Britanee Drexel once police are given his name and look into him. According to one of Raymond's victims, a woman named Carrie Harding, she was 8 years old back in 1983 when she was targeted by Raymond. She was walking to school one day to meet a friend, so walking on a street, when Raymond grabbed her from behind and threw her in his car. Now, after sexually assaulting 8-year-old Carrie, he did let her go, but police are wondering if the situation was maybe slightly different with Britanee. So they start questioning Raymond and those close to him. For starters, they hear from a friend and former romantic partner of Raymond's. It's a guy named Ernest Merchant. And he says a couple of days after Britanee was reported missing, Raymond came to his house unexpectedly and he had claw marks all over his face and neck.
Oh my gosh, dude.
However,
You gotta be kidding me.
when police learn about him, they're like, yes, this is someone we're going to look into. And they decide to speak to Raymond. He says, no way. No way. This disappearance from years ago, he was out of town around the time Britanee Drexel went missing. So police investigate this alibi and learn it wasn't the case. Raymond was lying to them. There was a parking ticket issued to him in Myrtle Beach.
Yeah, of course.
The day after Britanee disappeared.
Yeah.
And that officer who issued him the parking ticket also noted that he had scratch marks all over his face. So this is the second person claiming that days after Brittanee's disappearance, Raymond was not only in Myrtle Beach,
He had scratches.
but he had
all over.
scratches on him. Police also learned that Raymond Moody had moved into a place in Georgetown called the Sunset Lodge the day before Britanee vanished back in April of 2009. So that August of 2011, they get a search warrant for the room Raymond had rented while he was in the area where Britanee went missing. And they rip the place apart. They tear down the wallpaper. They open up mattresses looking for any sort of clues or DNA, anything that can tie him to Britanee. But there was nothing in that room that pointed to a murder or Raymond Moody being guilty. So it was a dead end, the room was, meaning none of this is enough to move forward with Raymond Moody, at least according to the local police. So after that, the case kind of reaches another standstill. Seemed like a good suspect, but they get nothing from it. 5 years later, in 2016, the FBI holds a press conference to say that they feel pretty confident that Britanee Drexel is no longer alive. And they do believe she was killed in the Georgetown area, particularly an area called McClellanville, based on where her cell phone pinged.
5 years later. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just more of them officially being like, hey, this girl was murdered. But that makes Brittanee's family wonder, what's changed in the investigation for the FBI to confidently come out and now say this? Is there new information that they haven't been told? The answer is yes, sort of. It turns out someone had recently come forward about Brittanee's case. It was an inmate serving a 25-year sentence.
Which I'm pretty sure we've talked about this before. Like snitching on inmates. Like sometimes it's good information, sometimes it's bad.
Right, unreliable.
Yes.
So he says he has information on Britanee Drexel's disappearance. He says he saw Britanee before her disappearance at a stash house in McClellanville.
What?
He says he noticed that she was being assaulted there, and then he actually watched her get shot and killed.
Oh my gosh.
When she tried to fight back. He also mentioned something particularly gruesome, that the people at this house, they dumped Brittanee's body into an alligator pit. Now, police do take this tip seriously, especially because it seems to be corroborated by someone else. But the more they look into it, the less it pans out. And eventually, police get this informant to admit that he had made the entire thing up.
Yeah, that's what
He was
I was
hoping
saying.
to provide information so he could get some kind of leniency, which means, again, Brittanee's case sits idle until 2019. This is 10 years.
It's so sad.
When things finally start to pick up some momentum. So by this point, like I said, 10 years have passed. There is still no body, no suspects, and no real theories about what happened to her after she left the hotel that night. All police know for sure is that her cell phone, at least, was in a car and traveled somewhere near the Georgetown County line and then stopped working after that. But now that a decade has passed, technology has vastly improved. So while looking back into the case, police use new methods to track the final movements of Brittanee's cell phone. And with this new technology, they are able to get a much more accurate reading of where she was. More specifically, they are able to pinpoint down to the minute when her phone went from walking to driving.
That's amazing. I didn't know that. I didn't think they could go back and do that, is what I'm
Right.
trying to say.
And they also realized that the average speed this cell phone was traveling was 55 miles per hour.
Okay.
So now they can kind of put together a timeline of all the roads that she was possibly on and the times she was traveling down them. And using this information, they essentially know, okay, around 8:58 p.m., the car with Brittanee's cell phone in it is going to pass this particular camera at 11th Avenue South. Like based on where they know the phone ended up, they map it out. They're like, okay, based on how fast the phone is traveling, what are the roads they most likely take, what are the route? And they're like, there's a camera on this road around the time this cell phone was passing it. So they pull up those old videos from 10 years ago and they watch them incredibly close. Now, it takes months of scouring footage, but they study and look up every single vehicle that goes by in this time frame.
Wow.
And they cross-reference them with any vehicles in connection to any of their people of interest.
I love this. This is the part of true crime that I do love is, I feel like I haven't mentioned in a while, but when you get all the cameras, you start cross-referencing everything. You look at all the frames, like you're just digging deep and able to figure it out from camera footage is so cool.
This is truly looking for clues. Like you're taking what you have to dig into possible clues. They might have the wrong road for all they know, you know what I mean? But it's honestly just such great work. So they're studying, they're cross-referencing it with every single name that has come up in their investigation. They also compare it to footage near another location at a place called Pole Yard Public Boat Landing. They know this is where Brittanee's cell phone actually ended up. So at a boat landing.
I'm just still mind blown because I can't believe, you know how like, I feel like it was a thing when I was growing up, like stranger danger, you know, it was like a big thing and ice cream trucks and people giving out candy. And it's just crazy to me that I feel like it was really big in the 70s and the 80s. I mean, I know it still happens now, but people just taking random people.
And for so long.
Just taking people.
I mean, because for so long, people thought that it was stranger danger. Then we learned, oh, it's usually someone you know. But like, it seems like in Brittanee's case, it is stranger danger. Like the reality, like Garrett's saying, of people just taking strangers off the road.
It's insane.
So they are cross-referencing everything. And eventually they find a match. It's a very specific 1998 Eddie Bauer Ford Explorer. And they learn Raymond Moody's girlfriend at the time of Britanee Drexel's disappearance, a woman named Angel, had owned one just like it.
What a surprise.
So it's not necessarily Raymond's car, but it's someone that he was very heavily involved with in his life that is seen on cameras.
You know what kind of sucks is they had him, 5 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, that sucks.
Instead of bringing Raymond back in for questioning, a pretty heavy person of interest in this case, they actually bring in Angel. So this is his ex-girlfriend from the time. And one of the main things they're trying to determine is whether or not Ray Moody ever borrowed Angel's car. And if he was driving it or if she was with him the night Britanee disappeared. And when they ask her about the car, she admits, okay, I did pick up Raymond a couple of times in my car, but he really wasn't in it that much. So eventually they start asking her whether or not she and or Raymond were on Ocean Boulevard in Myrtle Beach the night Britanee Drexel was taken. She's like, no. Neither of us had any involvement in that. So they pull out this other video. Now, let me backtrack a little bit here. I'm not sure when this certain video, this evidence was brought to the police, but at some point during the investigation, a friend of Angel's showed up to the police. They had heard mention in conversation in the friend group that she and Raymond might have been involved in Britanee's disappearance. So police ask this person, are you willing to wear a wire and see if you hear this again? And the friend's like, sure. Only when they try to get Angel to bring this up on wire, she says on wire to this friend, Raymond had nothing to do with this. It was just me who did something to Britanee.
What?
Yes. So police have had
What is
this.
happening?
We don't know when, where, how. We don't know if it was just kind of sketchy circumstances, which is why they didn't take it very seriously. But either way, the police had always felt like Angel was not the person who had done this.
Well, okay.
Chances were she was just scared of Raymond Moody and was protecting him, considering he's the registered sex offender with a history of committing crimes against teenagers. They're like, we're pretty sure if anything happened, it was this guy. Then the car shows up on the footage. So cut back to that interrogation where they're asking Angel about her car. And after she's done insisting that neither she nor Raymond were involved, police are like, well, let's break out this old video we have in our box of Brittany Drexel's disappearance, where we have you on video recording saying that it was you and not Raymond who was involved. So this is when Angel slowly starts to crack in this interrogation. She says, okay, yeah, see, that whole thing, that was not true. Me on that wire, I don't even know when you did that. But yeah, that wasn't me. She says Raymond was using her car the night Brittany disappeared. And she can prove that she wasn't there when Brittany was killed because she might actually still have her old cell phone from a decade ago that they can go look at the pings of.
Okay.
It's a pretty big deal to police because it can either prove or disprove her statements on top of maybe offering up text messages and forms of correspondence between her and Raymond the night Brittany disappeared. So hoping Angel will cooperate, they let her go, except when they try to reach out over the next few days to get this cell phone.
She's gone.
She just ghosts them.
Of course.
Still, now they feel they have enough to get a search warrant for both Angel's house and the now 62-year-old Raymond Moody's residence as well. So while they're searching Raymond's house in May of 2022, they bring him in for questioning. And once he is presented with all of the evidence they have, Brittany's cell phone data, the Eddie Bauer truck, their theory of what had happened, that's when Raymond, realizing his hands are tied, just randomly decides to confess. So they haven't found anything at the houses, but he's like, you have enough that let me talk. And I want to mention, please take this next part with a huge grain of salt because this is all coming from Raymond's mouth over a decade after, when he feels like police have enough to at least tie him to being involved. So this is what he offers up. He said that on the night of April 25th, 2009, he and Angel were driving around Myrtle Beach together in her car when they saw Brittany walking back down to her hotel. According to Raymond, pulled over, asked her if she wanted to go party with them, and she said yes and willingly got in the passenger seat.
That is such BS, man.
He says
such BS.
The three of them start driving around town, talking, smoking marijuana, and they end up back in Georgetown, which is how her cell phone data got her there. They went to a spot where he used to camp down by the river to hang out. He says at this point, Angel leaves. And that's when things between him and Brittany got, quote, out of hand. He said he tried to force himself on Brittany. She fought back. And knowing that if he let her go, he could go back to prison after just getting out, Raymond said he began strangling Brittany, which ultimately led to her death. Raymond also says during that confession that Angel was not involved at all. But police figure there's only one way to tell whether or not Raymond's being honest. So they say, if this is true, you need to lead us to Brittany's body. So Raymond takes investigators to an area near the Sunset Lodge where he was staying at the time. It's about 3 miles away into this heavily wooded area. He says, okay, this is where I buried her. After that, police immediately put him in handcuffs for obstruction of justice. This way they can just keep him behind bars till they can add charges for murder and kidnapping. And over the course of the next 3 days, the FBI excavated the area.
Please tell me they found a body.
On May 11th, 2022, they finally discover human remains about 4 feet underground. There was a nose ring and a blue-colored contact lens, both of which Brittany wore.
Okay.
4 days later, on May 15th, using dental records and DNA analysis, they confirmed that they had finally found the remains of Brittany Drexel. While Raymond stated in his confession that Brittany's cause of death was strangulation, her remains were too decomposed for an actual cause of death to be determined.
That's horrible.
Still, this is more than enough to charge Raymond Moody with first-degree murder, criminal sexual conduct, and kidnapping. Meanwhile, Angel also made a deal with investigators. If she was completely truthful about her future statements regarding that night, police would take her cooperation into account when deciding whether or not to prosecute her.
I don't believe her at all. I think she's probably more involved than we'll ever know. But now I just don't believe anything that's coming out of her mouth.
So, yeah, because she's lied.
She's lied
a lot
multiple
if she
times
had
already.
nothing to do with
No,
this.
I don't believe anything that's coming out of her mouth.
So from that day forward, Angel agrees to cooperate. Here's what she says. She was in the car when she and Raymond picked up Britanee. She left them down in Georgetown near a campsite. And when she dropped them off, Britanee was still alive and well. But when she came back later to get Raymond, Britanee was no longer with him. Apparently, he told her that a friend of Brittanee's had come by to pick her up and take her back to Myrtle Beach. Now, police do manage to get phone records from both Angel and Raymond from the night to confirm some of their stories. And they do find that Angel kind of did seem to be telling the truth. There was a period in that evening when the two cell phones parted ways and then came back together. Now, ultimately, this cooperation was Angel's saving grace for now. Raymond Moody, on the other hand, pleaded guilty to murder, kidnapping, and sexual assault in October of 2022. He even said this before the court, quote, "I was a monster. I was a monster then, and I was a monster when I took Britanee Drexel's life." He was sentenced to life in prison without parole. In January 2023, Brittanee's mother, Dawn, filed a civil suit against Raymond Moody for emotional distress. Also included in that lawsuit was the hotel that Britanee and her friends were staying at. Her family argued that they contributed to the events by allowing unaccompanied minors to check into the hotel without adult supervision.
Okay.
Now, in the end, the Drexel family was awarded $700 million in punitive damages.
Which they probably won't even ever see because the hotel doesn't have $700 million. Raymond doesn't. So,
right.
Yeah.
Then in March of 2024, 57-year-old Angel was back on the FBI's radar. While she wasn't charged with kidnapping or murder, they did finally slap her with charges for lying to federal officers about her involvement and for keeping all of this information under wraps for 13 years. I mean, you leave your boyfriend alone with a 17-year-old girl. She disappears that night and you never come forward and say anything. In fact, when you do come forward, you lie.
I just don't believe that she just got in that car willy-nilly and was like, "Oh yeah, let's go party."
Nah.
Maybe
I mean, yeah, to take a ride.
Could I be wrong? Sure. Do I think I just don't think that's what happened.
No.
I don't know.
By the time Angel left her boyfriend and a 17-year-old girl alone, she knew exactly, maybe not murder, but she knew exactly what was about to go down.
100%.
Because I promise you, at that point, Britanee was not cool with where they were and that she never got dropped back off at a hotel, if that's why she ever willingly got in. We don't even know if she willingly got in.
Yeah.
So that September, she pleads guilty to those charges and is actually given 18 years in federal prison. But 2 months later, Raymond Moody came forward with a shocking new revelation. He's like, okay, actually, Angel was an integral part of the kidnapping and murder. He told the FBI that Angel helped lure Britanee into the car, held the steering wheel while he restrained her. This is probably more likely. And Angel helped guide Britanee to a tent near the lake that they both had set up previously.
Yeah, this is probably more of what happened.
This
is insane.
The purpose of kidnapping a teenager and Angel letting her boyfriend stay alone with this teenager at this pre-set up location. He even said it was Angel's idea to go out and find a woman that they could assault together. And that Angel was there when he killed Britanee. Now, once again, I don't know how much we can believe because her cell phone does leave. Apparently, Raymond shared this with police because he was trying to strike a deal, one that would ensure part of his property remained in a trust for his grandkids. Yeah, Raymond has kids and grandkids.
Okay.
But you have to wonder, did Angel know a lot more than she confessed to? What's the truth here? No. I think there's a lot of unanswered questions about this case, unfortunately, even though it somehow was solved years later. But there's one thing that Brittanee's mother, Dawn, is sure of and honestly proud of. Raymond Moody was spotted by multiple people with obvious scratches all over his face. We know Britanee, the Spitfire, everyone remembered her as, fought hard, which is both devastating and also does make her mother proud to know that she did fight back. She did try. And that is the case of Britanee Drexel.
Yeah, I think definitely Angel had a lot more involvement than we'll ever know. Nothing we can really do about that because people can lie. Horrible. It's just crazy to me that people would, I mean, they still do. They just take people. Like, people are just taken out of nowhere.
No, what's disgusting,
and that is wild to me,
is that in the Revelations, we realize that there was a tent pre-set up in this heavily wooded.
No, that's wild.
Which just means
that's
that
gross.
Yeah, they are telling the truth at the end that this was planned. They went out on the hunt for a girl who was alone that night.
Yep.
It's disgusting.
It's insane. It's honestly, it's mind-blowing.
All right, you guys, that was our episode, and we will see you next time with another one. Also, 2 bonus episodes have been released if you just need more. I love it.
I hate it.
Goodbye.